Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're here for the first time, thank you for joining me. If you're returning, why? You know I only turn out bang average stuff, so I'm sure you've got something better to do, maybe wash your back hair or pick your toenails, but if you're going to stick with it, then enjoy. Today I thought I'd talk about zines or pamphlets or a physical way of presenting your work. I've done this a number of times, and I thought talking through the process might be useful to some people. So today I'll try and take you through over a set of vlogs. I might do 2 or 3 talking through different bits of the process that I used, and how you can actually create your own artifact, product, zine, whatever you wish to call it. So let's go, and I'll try and show you what a zine is and how you can kind of style your own. Let's start with the basic question. What is a zine? Well, a zine is something like this. This is Dave Fieldhouse's Tokyo. It's an excellent zine. It deals with a trip that Dave did. It's a lot of, if I try and show you, a lot of nighttime shots. And it's a really good A5 size. We've got a couple more here by James Ewers and Richard Fox. One called Mist, one called Feeling Mistless. We'll talk about them later. A really nice minimalist one by Russell Jackson called Slate, and it deals with Welsh slate quarries. And then we've got my own. So I've produced 2 so far. One is called Black, Orange and White. It's a charity zine. The link will be in the description. And I'll explain why I did it. But this is a square format, 21 centimetre square. And we can talk through why I chose that. And the final one is my Copenhagen zine, which is a trip from last year that I did with my wife for my 50th birthday. And it just tells the story of what we saw whilst we were there. So there's some classic shots, mermaids and cherry blossom, and just, documents what I did, what I saw. So that's kind of what a zine is. Let's dive into a bit more depth and talk about themes. One of the reasons for doing this set of vlogs is there was a really interesting article on Phoblographer in January called, and I'll just make sure I get this right, Why Zines Are So Necessary for Photographers Today. And I think it's a really interesting point, because a lot of us use social media. So we use Instagram or Blue Sky or Facebook groups to show our work, but it's very instantaneous. It's here and then it's gone, and there may be some excellent work on it, but there's such a deluge and a flood that's often difficult to keep up with. And also it's not very tangible. So if you want to really create something meaningful with what you've produced, how do you do it nowadays? Well, the zine is actually quite a good way of doing it, because you can curate around an idea and present your work. Now, it might be you only present it to friends and family, or maybe you go, well, actually, I've got lots of friends on the internet, I'm going to make it available, and there are now online printers who will do print on demand, and we can talk about that later. But it's a really good way of bringing together your work in a way that you and other people can connect with. And also you can preserve your work in a physical form. So let's imagine we're going to build a zine, and we want to know, what good looks like. We want to connect with other people, and we want to introduce ourselves. So how are we going to come up with something enticing, something engaging? Well, the first thing to do is think about what theme are you going to pick. And there are lots of ways of doing this. So if we go back and look at the zines I showed earlier, right, so we have my Copenhagen theme. It's a documentary of a trip I did, and I've included on the back, a nice map of Copenhagen. I've done it in a kind of a sectioned way. So I have sections that talk about bikes. You see lots of bikes in Copenhagen, so I'm doing some street photography of the bikes. Likewise, you're going sightseeing, you're going to go to classic places. So if you're going to go to classic places, put them together. And there's some stuff there about design and architecture, because there's some fantastic stuff in Copenhagen. I wanted to record that. Okay, so you're going on a trip. Right, let's look at some of these other ones. Slate by Russell Jackson. It covers one topic, the slate mines. In fact, I don't know if it just copies... No, it's not to Norwich, I'm not even going to say it. It kind of it looks at one particular slate mine near Festiniog. And it's just a project around that one location. And it's all about slate. It's all about that industry, or the lack of that industry now. And it kind of tells a story around that. Okay. Then we've got these two, which are two sides of the different coin. Mist and mistless. This one is a collection of photos that Richard has taken around the world. Some beautiful imagery, beautiful, involving mist and what mist can do for your imagery, and how you can portray it and show it. And it's a really lovely curated collection of those images. James has gone for feeling mistless. So when you don't have mist and you don't have that isolation, think about what you can do. How can you create, classic ones here, avenues of trees with bluebells. Okay. You can do other things that mean you don't have to have mist in woodland to create fantastic imagery. Come on to one of my personal favourites. Dave Fieldhouse's Tokyo. I love this. This is a collection of images that Dave has put together at night time, and even the cover's gorgeous, of him walking around Tokyo, just taking sometimes mundane, sometimes amazing. When I mean mundane, I don't mean the images are mundane. The people in them are doing things, but the lighting and the coloration are beautiful. It was limited edition, and I wasn't going to miss it. So that is a very, very nice little zine. And then finally, we come to my one, which is called Black, Orange, White. I wanted to present my work. I don't have a big enough following to warrant doing a Dave Fieldhouse. But I can do something for charity. So this was a charity zine that I designed. And it takes a journey through colours. So it starts with very much black and white imagery. And as you move through, I start to introduce orange. And when we finish, we have images like this. And the idea was to curate a set of images, 30, 35 images, that ran through. And so that's how I set it up. So you could do a zine around a time, around a location, around a social aspect, you know, deserted playgrounds of Worcester, for instance, goalposts of the world. I mean, there is one called Russian bus shelters that's well known. I think it's called that, portraying the architecture. But you can kind of do whatever you want. But the first part is to come up with the idea, to come up with a whole load of ideas. And it's always good to have someone to bounce the ideas off, to say, okay, does this work? You know, if I'm going to do one around red, does that work? Or I'm just going to do black and white and it's just going to be taken on this one street. Does that work? And then it's a case of bring those images together, and you know, you might end up with 100 images and you kind of sit there and you go, okay, which are the best? And so having like an advocate with you who you can bounce ideas off and go, is that a really good image? Is that not? Is always really helpful. So you start to build your collection of images and you go, okay, right, what can we do? How can we use these? And once you've got your collection, we can start to think about the stylistics. So we'll talk about your design ethos, your theme, your style, in the next vlog that I do. But I think for now, I've given you a lot to think about. So go away, scour your Lightroom catalogues or your Capture One, or GIMP, or Darktable, or Apple Photos, Google Photos. And do you have a set of images that you're proud of, you want to share, you want to pull together? And if you do, then build a collection and start being really harsh. Is that good enough? But as I say, we'll talk more about that next time. I will leave some links to where you can buy my zine in the description, the Phoblographer article, and also there's an excellent Dutch website called Street Zines that has loads of examples by other photographers that you can just flick through on the website, and that'll give you maybe some ideas. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back next time to talk about design themes, styles, ethoses. Cheers for now.